Welcome back, fam bam. It's Minimalist Monday. Today I'm going to talk to you about my minimalist birth control method. So I don't really have a problem talking about topics like this. I just hope that it's something that serves you. Some of you guys ask me, am I having kids? Do I want more kids? What if you don't? Like, how do we do this? And so I thought I would share this with you because the way that I approach it is pretty simple. Before I get started on what my birth control method is, to answer your question, we do not plan on having any more kids. We are open to potentially adopting or bringing more children into our home in the future, but that is just our plans for the moment. Nothing is set in stone. With that being said, I used to use birth control methods that were hormonal, including the pill, and I have tried the Mirena IUD. The pill was something that I used when I was younger because I was trying to regulate my hormones and my energy levels, and at that time it was suggested to me by a doctor, and it was around the same time that I stopped the pills right before I started taking steroids. If you guys are new here, I have this whole adrenal crash and story behind my health and rebuilding my health over the last 10 years because my hormones went wacky, and taking the birth control pill was like one of the first times this happened. The thing that I remember really clearly that was really weird to me was it was a year after I stopped taking birth control, about 6 months after I stopped taking steroids, that my period started coming back. So I just stopped having a menstrual cycle altogether. And when it came back, I was sitting in bed with 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, crying, like wallowing my eyes out. And my roommate came home and was like, "Are you okay? What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "This is horrible. I think it's PMS. Like, this is what it sounds like, but this is horrible." Like, I never felt anything like it in my life. And I just thought it was the worst feeling in the world. And it was the first time that I felt it. And I knew it was definitely due to all of those hormone altering pills that I had taken over the years abruptly stopped. And now my body was trying to rebuild itself. So several years later, which was actually just a few years ago, I tried the Mirena IUD. I was told it was isolated to my uterus. Why I ever believed them, I don't know. I was like, oh yeah, it's isolated. No, hormones are not going to be isolated through your uterus. Hormones, if they're in your body, if they're touching your skin, they're going to absorb into your bloodstream. That is how the body works. You're not going to isolate them into your uterus. So no matter what they tell you that your IUD is just going to be isolated there, it's not true. And my periods were just erratic and crazy. They were just going on like on and on and on and on. And I was like, what's the point of having an IUD if I'm going to be like on a period all the time? And I remember, long story short, just thinking like I needed to get it out. I got this script that talked about the Mirena Crash, and I was reading the script on camera, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is me. This is so me. I have to get this taken out. So the next day I got it taken out, and my uterus was literally like, like I had no idea. But like when I was walking out of the doctor's office, I felt like a different person. It was the craziest thing. And then of course, because I had gone through like, you know, the withdrawal symptoms, I knew I was gonna have a crash. And that whole week I just focused on the methods that I talk about on my Simplified Health series. I'll stick that playlist below. I was just really focused on that for the next week, and I definitely had a crash, but because I was aware of it, I was able to recoup pretty quickly. So I'm sure you know by now that hormonal birth control methods are not my thing. I don't recommend them at all whatsoever. They really mess with the system, and that is messing with your internal environment, which is huge, absolutely huge for creating a life worth living and being able to simplify and really enjoy life. Messing with the hormone levels in my body is probably one of the most major, if not the most major, causes of challenge and strife in my life, so I would not go anywhere near it. So the way that we approach birth control as long-term partners, we've been together for almost 10 years. That's crazy. We've been together for a while, and of course we approach it with protection. And another thing that I like using is this app. It's called Life, and I'm sure there's way better apps out there. I've just been using this forever, and it's the greatest way to just like track your periods and your ovulation. I just like using this as an awareness tool. Of course, awareness is super important if you don't want to make a mistake, or if you're not prepared to take on the consequences of that accident happening. And so using this allows me to see how my cycles are acting and responding, but it's also a great way to be aware of my life balance. When things change abruptly, or if I'm working too hard or more stressed, my periods change, and so do my cycles. So typically I'm on a 29-day cycle, 29 to 30, and I'll notice like it'll move to 34 or 35 if something abrupt happens or there's more stress or my diet's off balance. And I like using it not just for birth control, but also for the awareness of that. Lastly, I like to use a pregnancy test regularly. I'll stick all these items in a link below if you just want to grab those or if you're interested in checking them out. This is just a way to stay on top of my awareness and make sure that there aren't any accidents. And if there are, of course, we would embrace it wholeheartedly and just take it as a gift from life. And that's pretty much it. Like, that's our simple approach to birth control. I know there's like tons of other ways out there. If you guys want to share what your ways are that are super effective, stick them in the comments below. We're all open to hearing. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you like it. And if you're new, welcome. Subscribe to the channel for more on how to create a life worth living. Thank you guys so much for being here. I will see you on Healthy Hump Day for a simplified approach to great health. Because let's face it, these are the bodies that we experience and live life in. So we gotta take good care of them. Thanks for being here, guys. As always, remember to be good, be great, and most of all, be grateful. I am so grateful for you.